Hi and welcome to Rainey Dewey's Art Spot. If you haven't been here before, my name is Lorraine, my nickname is Rainey, and you can call me Rainey. Today's video is about starting what you finished when it comes to your art. It's time again for me to finish those unfinished paintings and drawings that I have stacked up around my art room. They're beginning to pile up, and it's reminding me of Phil Silverstein's Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout, who would not take the garbage out. Now, I'm not saying that I consider my art to be garbage, but if I leave these paintings and drawings unfinished, they might as well be put in the trash and become garbage. So when I began painting many years ago, from time to time I would end up with these piles of paper, drawings and watercolor paintings, and now I'm doing some oil, so I have some canvases that are also unfinished, and so they just weigh on me. Actually, I think those unfinished art pieces, they have a voice and they call out to me and they say, "Hey, loser, hey you over there, yeah, you, loser." And that is negative self-talk. So those unfinished paintings and drawings, they do make me feel like a failure at times, and they're a weight that I carry in my art process. I'll see them stacked up and I'll move them to another spot, and I'll look at them and feel bad, and then this weight, it just gets carried to the next piece because I know I have unfinished artwork. Sometimes I'll sit and I'll look through them and I'll think that I'm just gonna pick one and bring it to completion, and then I'll get sidetracked, which is another route for procrastinating, and I'll start cleaning and organizing my art supplies. That is absolute, no doubt, an avoidance tactic. I've used it many times, and my art room is very organized and clean as a result. So truthfully, these pieces of creativity that have been abandoned, they've been abandoned for a variety of reasons. All of them were very likely started without a real plan in mind. So I didn't do a value sketch, I didn't do a color study, and I didn't have a plan of what the focal point would be for each piece. So in other words, these unfinished pieces of artwork, they have no purpose, and so in many ways they were doomed from the start. Unless I started with a really strong reference photo, there was a very good likelihood that they wouldn't succeed, or I wouldn't finish them. So I found that once you have this abandoned piece of artwork, it's difficult to find a path back. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. So I've come up with a few ways, a few different ways to restart any of these long abandoned paintings or drawings. One way is to cull and trash. Now, that is to tear it up or use it as kindling if you have a big canvas. I don't use this method because I was raised in the 1950s and 60s, and we just didn't waste paper that way. So much less throwing away a canvas, oh my goodness, that would just be beyond. So I rarely use that method, not never, but rarely. Another way to restart is to come up with a plan. So go backwards. Determine your goal or the focal point of your piece, and then go back and do your value sketch and your color study, and then decide that you're going to finish. Not that you're going to try to finish, but that you're going to finish no matter what, no matter how good or bad. Just finish. Another way that I've used to restart with watercolor is to run the paper under cold water and wipe away what's there. You'll be left with sort of like a little shadow, and use that, whatever is left, as your base. Now, I use Arches 140-pound cold press most of the time, so that paper can handle this kind of manipulation, or abuse, should I say. Other papers may not withstand that, so use caution if you're going to decide to use this method to restart. And then another way that I have restarted in the past, and actually this is one that I use most often these days, is I just go for it. Anything goes. Add gouache, add acrylic, add pen and ink, anything. You can stencil, you can collage, whatever it takes to get a finished product that you are satisfied with is what happens when you just go for it. Now, you'll notice when I'm saying, get a finished product, not that you're going to produce a masterpiece. Now, the reason is that the goal in tackling your unfinished work is to finish. That's it, period, end of story. Now, that isn't to say that you won't end up with something really great. And sometimes I've ended up with something that I really like. And sometimes there'll be a masterpiece. But if you don't start again and you don't finish, then you'll never know what could have been. And using this go for it technique, boy, you can learn volumes about color and just all kinds of wonderful things. It's surprising to me how much I've learned really by finishing what I thought were hopeless paintings and drawings. I've also discovered that some were closer to finished than I thought, and so I abandoned this painting that probably took less than a half an hour to finish. It took so little effort, and yet I stopped. Some pieces that I thought were absolutely hopeless just taught me a ton, and ended up being sweet little paintings. So that go for it strategy, I advocate that one, although I do use all of these. When you push past and through your fear of making a mess, you can learn so much. I know we all want to have successful artwork, but when you pick up those things that you've abandoned, those half starts, and begin again, I do try to do it with a I don't care attitude and just have fun. And most of the time I'm able to do that. Not that you don't care, but you can move through the process with a different kind of freedom, that nothing can really be lost, because if I wasn't going to finish the painting anyway, then just trying again and going for it, getting an outcome, trying again, and finishing is better than no outcome at all. That's what I say. So I've learned volumes with using all these methods. And unfortunately, I haven't stopped that nasty habit of starting and stopping. So here I am again. I have another stack of unfinished stuff that needs finishing. I do wish I'd stopped doing it, but here I am, and I'm ready to clean up the mess. This piece that I'm working on here is something that I started literally back in June of 2020. It's been sitting in my pile of unfinished work because I thought I was too busy and it was too brash and it didn't read distance. There were a lot of reasons. And of course I hadn't done any of my homework. I didn't do a value sketch. Well, I did do a little color study, but not enough. I didn't do enough work on that prep phase. So I abandoned it, and what made my eye more forgiving is the encouragement that I got from my little painting group when I brought it in. I was going to try to tackle it again, and they helped me see that it had some potential, and they pointed out things they liked, so I got the courage to finish it. This last bit is really important. It has been important to me. And that is painting with a group of artists is really helpful. The encouragement and different perspectives brought in a small group are very valuable. And the beautiful thing is that in the world, we might be divided on a variety of subjects, but when we come together for the art, we have this common ground, and we love and share each other. It's really a great environment. And the thing is that sometimes I lean on them and sometimes they lean on me. It's really a great exchange, and it makes the whole creative process in a group really uplifting, especially since most of the time we create art in isolation. So these kinds of groups can be a treasure. If you don't have one, you might want to just paint with another friend, or start one yourself. Perhaps also something that can be really uplifting is, say you're a more experienced painter, you can help a beginner painter get started. So There's lots of things that you can do to finish your work, to share your work, and there will always be times on this art journey that are difficult, and we have habits that we don't like, but as long as we just keep tackling these challenges and we don't quit. Now, there are times when I have stopped painting for a while, but I've never quit. I've always come back. So I guess what I would like to say is never stop trying, and get that pile of paintings and get going on finishing them up if you're anything like me. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to be notified when more are posted, you can subscribe. Thank you again for stopping by. Happy painting.